Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliette Clark. Before we get started today, I want to remind you guys to go over and take the Promote, Profit, Publish quiz. You'll find it at www.promoteprofitpublishquiz.com. Find out if you're really ready to publish that book, or I don't know, maybe you need a platform first. Do you want anybody to read it? That'd be the first thing I'd do. Okay, now that I've insulted y'all, I want you to go over and take a look at our YouTube channel, Super Brand Publishing. You can see all of these interviews over there and see these people on video. You can kind of see how quirky they are, or how stiff they are. Anyway, you can see they're real people. I don't make this stuff up because I'm not that good at it. Okay, so our guest today is Whitney McDuff. And Whitney is in the business of purpose-driven people. As a speaker, brand strategist, and content specialist, PR navigator, published author, blogger, and poet, and she really is a poet. We'll talk a little bit about that too. Whitney is the founder of Whitney McDuff Consulting, which specializes in launching and building public speaker brands as well as public relations. Her speakers and clients have worked with ABC, NBC, CBS, ESPN, and the Stephen Colbert Show, to name a few. For over 15 years, she's managed the public relations strategies and assisted in building the public speaking brands of entrepreneurs, influencers, thought leaders, and authority brands, building the pitches and assets they need to land speaking opportunities and monetize their genius. Whitney's experience and expertise extend to a variety of verticals, including sales and marketing, entrepreneurial, human resources, health and wellness, and leadership coaching. She is also the author of her #1 selling children's books, The Lolly Tree, and just this week, I believe it was this week, released her follow-up book called Where the Lollies Go. Welcome, Whitney.
Thank you so much. It's always so weird and awkward to have your bio read.
I know. That's why I do it in front of you. I know. It's so funny because someone a couple weeks ago, they were like, wow, I never knew I was so awesome. And and I actually said a while back, somebody read mine in front of me and I was like, wow, did you write that yourself? And they were like, no, you wrote it.
That's awesome.
Oops. So before we get into all of the stuff we were going to talk about, tell us the story. I was on a call with you last night and you told the story about where the lollies go. And I thought, oh, this is so sweet.
Yeah. So I'll back up a couple steps. When I was pregnant with my son 3 years ago, this is such a cliche, as any writer will know, like a lightning bolt, an idea hit me for a children's book. And it was called The Lolly Tree. We call my mom Lolly. That's her grandmother name. And the whole book was about a little boy overcoming fear. That book became a bestseller. It was such a fun experience. I'm so glad my mom got to see it come to light, and her influence, everything in my life associated with creativity totally came from my mom. So it was such a great thing. Anyway, fast forward to last year, my mom unexpectedly passed away. So that was obviously very tragic. Through that grief, I wanted to honor her in some way. So I have 2 brothers, and all of us spoke at her funeral. My piece of the funeral, I had written a poem for her. My mom loved poetry. She absolutely loved the children's book. So I wanted to write a poem that explained to my children what happens when someone we love passes away. That love never goes away. It just simply transforms. And so this poem came to be called Where the Lollies Go. And it's a story of that transformation. Well, long story short, that poem became its own book that got released last week. It also became a bestseller very unexpectedly. It was a very strange process, much different than the first book, because it's obviously a book I never really wanted to write, right? It only came to fruition because my mom passed away. So there wasn't a big, giant marketing push. It wasn't anything like that. It was really a labor of love to honor her. And anyway, it ended up hitting bestseller status. Wonderful. I'm so grateful for all the support. I hope that she's super proud of it. But yeah, it's just a way for adults and children to help process what happens when we lose someone that we love. It's got absolutely stunning illustrations. My illustrator came back from the first book. She just has created masterpieces throughout. It's so beautiful. But I'm really proud of it and glad that something productive could come from the ashes of just heartbreaking grief. So that is where the lollies go. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the book can help other people try and heal.
That's so amazing. And by the way, you guys, children's books are pretty hard to sell. So that's pretty amazing that well, they are. It's a different, you're selling to, it's a different audience. It's like when I worked at Mattel Toys, you're selling to the parents, but you have to get to them through the children. So
Right.
if you ever remember Saturday morning cartoons, like, all of going to your parents and I need a Barbie doll. No, what you need is food and a roof over your head. You want a Barbie doll. No, the big fights.
The best thing about kids though, right? Because I'm a big kid, I think, trapped in an adult body. So children have really given me an excuse to watch and read what I actually wanted to all along. So my life is full of Disney movies and Roald Dahl books and all of the things that I love anyway. So I'm just surrounded by Mattel and all of the things that now I won't look like a weirdo when I'm sitting on the floor, like playing with trolls.
Right? There you go. And I'm probably the only one who cries with Beauty and the Beast. I love that movie.
Oh, the best.
The original, not the real life one. I mean, come on.
Oh, agree.
Come on.
The animation's so much better. That is my favorite opening of a Disney movie, the opening of Beauty and the Beast. That story with the stained glass. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. I love Gaston. I really look around sometimes and go, yeah, how many damn Gastons have I dated? I might need some professional help.
I'll tell you though, it's so interesting, and this goes to the power of storytelling, which we'll be talking about later. I was talking about this on another podcast a few weeks ago, but Beauty and the Beast is such a great example. We don't realize the power of those stories when we're younger, but I think one of the reasons I am very, very big on giving back and really believe that when you pass someone on the street who may not be as fortunate as you, like, look them in the eye, greet them. Like, everyone deserves that amazing humanity that we all share, and everyone has an incredible story and we can learn from everyone. And I really think, going all the way back, it dates back to me growing up with that story and what happens when you are not kind to people who deserve kindness.
Yes.
And I was on a podcast, we were talking about storytelling, and I was like, oh my God, that's where it stems from. It's growing up with that fairy tale. And it has impacted me my entire life. And it just shows the power of storytelling, because I now use that fable to teach my children how critical it is to be kind to everyone, even if they look different than you or sound different than you or whatever it may be. Everyone deserves to come in from the cold, we shall say. But yeah, it's so interesting how as an adult you can identify with those things that you saw when you were little that had such a profound impact on how you live your life today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think the value, like, I know I'm older than you because I'm almost 60, but, the value of treating everybody with kindness. I mean, it doesn't matter. I was brought up like that. Like, it doesn't matter that person's a janitor. They are still a human being, and, people have bad days and people have good days, and kind of look around and be more tolerant. So you and I talk about platforms a lot because that's what we do. A lot of people out in the world right now thinking about, I want to be a paid speaker in an environment where they're going to have to make a pivot, and that platforms become more important than ever.
Right. Absolutely. So the interesting thing that's going on, this is a two-sided coin, right? So when the pandemic hit, the speaking industry fell apart seemingly overnight, as many industries did. Everyone was in a panic. What's happening here? It has steadied out, but it looks different right now. Are events still going on? Yes, absolutely. In fact, there are more of them because they are easier to plan. So it is a wonderful thing there, especially if you are looking to either start out on a speaking career or level up. Now is the time to do it, because you can get in front of event planners and audiences there are people that are not adjusting their trajectory, and I really advise against that. You need to think about your pricing. You need to think about your strategy when you get on these virtual stages. Where are you guiding these people? Because the reality is it's not going to be the same keynote fees as it is for a live event. There's not the same expense. Like, why would someone pay that when someone with the same kind of authority, the same kind of message would do it for half the price to get in front of that audience? And I really want to encourage everybody to think about the audience over your ego. Right now is the time to pivot and be really smart about what you're doing. So look for these virtual events. They are happening everywhere. Where the great thing is for speakers, not so great for event planners because it's more work on them. But going forward into 2021, y'all, people are getting booked. These events are getting booked out 6, 7, 8 months in advance. And if we are still in the pandemic 8 months from now, ooh, we got bigger problems. But what I'm telling you is keep reaching out, keep getting booked. Live events are coming back. And where this works in your favor is that there are going to be more opportunities for you. So instead of an event where there's one keynote for 20,000 people, because of the new rules and regulations and precautions that we're taking on a global scale, these events are now going to be smaller. So instead of one opportunity on stage, you may now have 5 or 10. That is a huge win for speakers. Mm-hmm. There's more opportunities to get in front of the people that you need to talk to. You need to think about your messaging and how you can connect to those people. You need to spend your time trying to get in front of audiences that need your content. And you need to think about what's your call to action going to be to get these people in your network so that you can continue to nurture that relationship and grow these relationships from a stage to a 5, 6, 7 figure relationship.
Yes, that is so true. And I have to be honest, back in October, I went to my first live event, like since January. Mm-hmm. And I came home and I was like, why did I do that? I ate, well, I did. I ate bad food. I walked around a hotel where I couldn't really enjoy myself. I had a mask on. And I came home and I was tired and exhausted. And I thought, I can do this from home. Like I'm on a summit just about every week. Why do I even need that anymore? So I don't know if it'll ever change a year or two down the line, but should people be taking advantage of those virtual stages right now?
Absolutely. And here's the thing too. I think there's a large group of people who are thinking we're just around the corner where this is changing. There are companies that have had a huge wake-up call that they don't need to hold these giant conferences, that they can do this all online. So if you are not working daily to not only perfect your pitch, but to be interesting on a Zoom call where, you know, we all know attention spans are about as
flea size,
a lightning bug flash. But when you have a computer screen in front of you with every social media tab open, your emails in the left-hand corner, like you're not working every day to be the engaging speaker that can pull people away from all that and captivate them, you are making a fatal mistake because these online events are going to do nothing but grow. People have seen how many resources they can save hosting it this way. They can pull people in from around the world without the expense. You have a real opportunity here to grow your brand on a global level, because right now you can just as easily speak in China as you can in the United States. So harness that, take advantage of that, and see it as an opportunity instead of a mountain you have to climb over. There's so much that we can be doing right now to grow our bank accounts, to grow our brand.
Absolutely. And if you guys think that what she's saying isn't true, I want to point out that we all own businesses. You just spoke to the bottom line of these businesses. They're realizing they don't need this overhead. They don't need to fill, a meal quota and a hotel quota and all that money that goes out in advance. They can just do some advertising and bring people into these sort of things. And it's a game changer. I don't think it'll ever go back to the way it was before.
Absolutely.
on
And I,
on
I
a very
really
big
do want to
level.
encourage your listeners. This is something that when you say it, it sounds so obvious, but I know that people are not doing it because every time I mention it, they're like, oh, I haven't done that yet. If you are currently a speaker, you need to go back to every client you have ever worked with and let them know that you offer this keynote on an online platform.
Mm.
They are not instinctively thinking that way because they never have had to do it until this year. So it's a great way to reconnect with old clients, to let them know that they can have this service from you. Y'all, companies around the world are looking for ways to engage their employees. So if you are somebody who is speaking to a company, you have engaging content, please reach out to your former clients and just let them know. It's a great way to touch base and a great way to get them thinking about you for other people that they talk to. So it's great, easy, low-hanging fruit way to pick up speaking gigs with people you already have a relationship with.
Not only true, think outside the box. This just doesn't isn't for coaches, authors, and speakers. A couple back in May, we had an event and we had a magician. So
Love.
that's the kind of thing that you can come in and do. We had a virtual wine tasting. I know it was so much fun. We learned how to, we had to bring our own wine, of course, but, they taught us how to appreciate, all of those things. So it was really fun. And comedians are huge. They're, depends on what setting you're in. Cause I personally like the offensive ones. So I have to watch it, but there are all sorts of different people that you can bring in to be really engaging because when you throw a virtual event, you have to up your game now. You can't just say, okay, stand up and shake it out. And you're going to dance in your underwear for 5 minutes in front of the camera for us now. So, because remember, most people don't wear pants when they're on Zoom. So there,
Guilty.
yeah, there are some precautions with it. So tell us about what people can be doing now to build their platforms from that, because that's what you and I talk about a lot is people like my people that go to produce a book. They don't have a
Mhm.
platform built. Same thing with speakers. Nobody's going to know who you are unless you get out and you pitch yourself correctly, even for podcasts. How do you do that?
So the trick with pitching in general is you can't sound like everybody else. Like that seems like such an obvious thing, but people tend to gravitate to what they know. You have a story, and more than likely you are in the position you're in because you transformed something about your life or business that gave you the credibility to be able to help other people. You have got to incorporate that into your pitches. People connect to story. You can throw stats at me all day long and all that jazz, and that's fine for supporting material in a keynote or a presentation. But if you're not telling a good story, you're toast. People are not going to stay engaged. So start perfecting that. And one of the easiest ways, y'all need to hop on camera.
Mm-hmm.
We all have every social media platform at our disposal. You have every tool in the universe to help you right now. Start making YouTube videos, start doing Facebook Lives, start getting on Instagram stories. I know that it can be kind of uncomfortable, especially if you're trying to figure out the technology. Heads up, guys. Everybody's in the same boat. We're all in this situation together. Just start talking. You're going to build your authority. You're going to build trust with people. Let people know that you speak about these things. We so often get insecure because we're like, oh, I'm talking about that too much on social. I don't want to bug people. Y'all, we're bombarded with 70 million messages a day. Like, people need to understand exactly what you do and exactly how you can help people. Because while Betty Joe watching your Facebook Live, why she may not hire you, her best friend may be the head of HR at a Fortune 500 company. You need to be in front of people. So while you're pitching on these virtual stages and building your platform that way, I really encourage you on a daily, at the very least 3 times a week, you're hopping on some sort of social platform and educating people about how you can help and how you can serve them.
So true. And you have to get over that initial I remember, have you ever used Periscope?
Yes. Oh, the live video. Yes. When it
Yeah,
first
I
came
think
out.
I think they actually just took it down. But
Yeah.
I have to tell you guys, the very first time I used Periscope, I thought I sucked. Like I got off and I almost cried. And the next day, some people I knew got on, and they literally, one of the guys talked with his hands. He knocks the microphone off. The camera went the other direction. You can hear them under the desk dropping F bombs, going, "Oh my God, we got to no, it's there!" And somebody kicked it, and I thought, I'm a rock star. So you have to remember that there's always somebody out there that's worse than you, and get over it and keep doing it and practice, because you will get better.
That's right. And here's the thing, everybody. The culture is shifting too, right? So we spent a long time in the perfect Instagram world. We're still in it. But people are shifting back to authenticity. And these perfectly curated brands, they don't feel right anymore. That's why people like Gary Vaynerchuk are crushing it, because that's the name of his book.
I was going to say, did you just pump his book on my show?
I didn't even mean to. But that's how great his brand is. I just associate that phrase with him. But he's a perfect example of the wave of authenticity that is coming through the speakers market. Jesse Itzler is another one, just coming through and showing the day-to-day life. Sarah Blakely, the Spanx CEO, Jesse's her husband. He was the founder of Marquis Jet. But these speakers, David Goggins is another one who's just blowing up right now. The author of Can't Hurt Me. He's a fascinating guy if you guys haven't picked up his book. But all of these people have this in common. They are so authentic. And that is the draw. That's what people want to see. They don't want to see this perfectly curated, amazing thing. They want to know that can happen for me too. I'm human. I'm imperfect. And if I show up every day, and if I do the work, and if I practice, because y'all, these are skills. Confidence is a learned skill. Public speaking is a learned skill. If you show up every day and you do the work, that can happen for you the same way that it happened for them. And people want to know and see that. So you may not be a $50,000 a keynote speaker. Who cares? Most people aren't. Show the journey of you trying to get there. Let people go along with you. If you are not a, $2,000 an hour health coach, that's cool. Most people aren't. Show that journey of how you're going there. Get people to help you make decisions. Let them in on what you're doing. It builds trust and credibility and a relationship, which this is a relationship game, whether it's on the micro or on the macro. People have got to trust you to work with you and follow your lead.
No, so true. And don't be afraid to let those warts show. You guys know from my story that I wrote my first mystery novel and killed my ex-husband in it because I was a mess. He was a jerk. But guess what? I share that with people in audiences. So you have 30 seconds to decide, well, actually more like 40 minutes to decide if I'm a real entrepreneur or a sociopath or a bit of both. And if you like that, you'll hire me. So, but that's the kind of stuff you have to be transparent. You have to share the messy human stuff. I think is my point, besides the sociopathic tendencies. Anyway, so what else? So what else should they share? Not that.
I think it's okay to share your vulnerabilities, and you hear that a lot. But in my own brand, I'm obviously a fairly confident person. I have my stuff. I shared a story about, I waited 2 years to launch my company. I literally coach people all over the world about getting over their own stuff so they can step on stage and step into their purpose. It took me 2 years longer than it should have to launch my own company because I was afraid of what one person that I used to work with would say. One person. It ticks me off beyond belief to think of the impact I could have had in those 2 years if I'd gotten a head start and gotten over myself. I'd never shared that story and shared it last week. Like, obviously people in my inner circle knew it, but shared it publicly. I cannot tell y'all the messages I got. Like, thank you. I have been on the fence about this forever. I want to start my own company. I want to do this. I want to build my speaker brand. I want to get on videos, whatever they want to do. whatever, I want to leave my marriage, whatever they want to do. When you are vulnerable in your own failures and successes, it allows other people to be, and it's so endearing, and it's helping people, which is ultimately what we all want to do, right? So that's such an important key, I think. Like, stop being afraid. Use the power of your story and what you are overcoming on a daily basis, because nobody wakes up the most confident person 24 hours a day, every day, 365 days a year. Nobody goes through a year without making a single mistake. Nobody does that. Right. So share that and let people in and help them grow and learn from what you did the same way you're learning from the people you're watching.
Yeah, exactly. That is really powerful. So you have a podcast pitch program right now for those people who are, maybe they're taking baby steps out, or maybe they're not getting those speaking gigs, and podcasts are a great way to get yourself visibility. Talk about that. How much is it? I mean, it sounds like a great program.
Yeah, it is. So this was one of the pieces that I offer in the big speaking program that I do with people, but I pulled it out on its own because what's going on right now, podcasting is hot, as everyone knows. It is an easier toe in the water, we'll say. It's a very different vibe than stepping up into a keynote. So it's a great way to build authority and build confidence, build your credibility, getting on podcasts. It's wonderful. But here's the problem. People either don't know how to pitch themselves, or they don't know how to get in touch with the people that make those decisions. So this package has solved both of those problems. It's super easy how it works. You get on the phone with me. We build your pitch together. My team curates a list of 100 targeted leads and the direct contact info for those leads. So you quite literally take the pitch that we built, send it to the leads. You get booked. You get visible, credible, profitable. It is the most no-brainer decision for anyone who is looking to build their brand. Right now, it's $250.
Wow.
The price is going up in January, but y'all, the list alone is worth 3 times that. Mm-hmm. You get the hour with me to build this pitch that you can use for the next 1,000 podcasts. But get this together, get the tools that you need. I cut the headache out of trying to find these people. Send the list, build your credibility, and go from there and let things snowball, and you'll start to get the hang of it. And, let's be real. You can podcast. You don't even have to wear pants. I mean, if that isn't the greatest business endeavor I've ever heard of, I don't know what is. Podcasting's awesome. And here's the reality from a business standpoint. Podcast audiences are so niche. These are people who are already hot for your content. And I was saying on a video earlier, this isn't like the 80s where you have, 3 TV channels and a radio station in your life, and that's the only way that you can access people. Podcasts are about everything in the world. So when you get really specific about who needs to be hearing your content and really specific about what you're talking about, I guarantee there are a million podcasts about it. Get in front of those people. They are on the line listening to this podcast because they are already hot for your content. You need to be in front of them. So I'll take the headache out. Let's build it, book it, go make money.
Very cool. Where do we find that at? Where do we find that? Where do we find you?
You can find me all over the place. I'm Whitney McDuff everywhere, on LinkedIn, Instagram, WhitneyMcDuff.com. My email is super easy, Whitney@WhitneyMcDuff.com. I think I'm the only one around. We'll see. If there's another Whitney McDuff in the world, show yourself. But
reveal yourself now. Reveal.
That's right. But I'm pretty easy to find. I'm on almost every social channel. But yeah, please come find me. I'd love to help you build your pitch and get successful in sharing your story.
There you go. And I'm going to show you guys how old I am. Will the real Whitney McDuff please stand up? Not like from the 50s. I think that was actually from before I was born. So sorry.
I think it's also from an Eminem rap. So you
sound
modern.
So I sound, I'm so groovy. All right, Whitney, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. You're awesome. Talk to you guys soon.